You walk in and you're already reading the air. Before you've said anything, before she has said anything, you are gathering information. The quality of the silence, the angle of her posture, whether the expression is open or closed, whether the first word carries the warmth that tells you the evening is going to be fine, or the particular flatness that tells you something is off. You are doing this automatically. You have been doing it so long it barely registers as a process. It just happens. The data arriving and the adjustment happening somewhere below conscious attention.
When what you find is warmth, you relax. The internal weather settles. Something in you that was monitoring gives itself permission to let down. When what you find is distance or neutrality, which you have learned to read as a possible precursor to distance, something contracts. A quiet alert. The monitoring intensifies. The adjustments begin. You tell yourself this is care, that being attuned to your partner's emotional state is a form of sensitivity, of genuine concern for her. And there is care in it. The instinct is not wrong at its source. But there is something else in it too, underneath the care. There is anxiety. The specific anxiety of a man whose emotional equilibrium is dependent on what he finds when he reads the room, who is fine when she is happy with him, and not fine when she is not. Not fine in the sense of feeling some appropriate relational concern, but not fine in the sense of losing, temporarily, his own ground. That pattern, the tracking, the adjustment, the relief or anxiety, depending on what is found, is what this episode is about. Not to criticize it. It usually comes from a genuine place, but to examine it, because the cost it carries is real, and the pattern understood can change.
Let me name what the pattern is not, before naming what it is. It is not a measure of how much you love her. Love does not require you to monitor another person's mood in order to maintain your own stability. Love can coexist with the clear recognition that her emotional state is her own. That when she is unhappy, you can be genuinely present with that, genuinely caring about it, without being destabilized by it. What the monitoring and adjusting pattern is measuring is not the depth of your love. It is the degree to which your sense of self is entangled with the relationship's emotional weather.
The clinical term for this, in family systems psychology, specifically in the work of Murray Bowen, is low differentiation. And it is one of the most precisely described and most practically important concepts in relationship psychology. Differentiation of self, in Bowen's framework, describes the capacity to maintain a clear, stable sense of who you are, your values, your emotional center, your identity, while remaining genuinely, warmly connected to another person. The ability to be close without losing yourself. To be emotionally present with someone's difficulty without being overwhelmed by it. To remain you while being in a relationship. Low differentiation, what Bowen called emotional fusion, is the inverse. The self and the relationship become so enmeshed that the man can't maintain his own emotional center independent of the relationship state.
When the relationship is warm, he has access to himself. When the relationship is troubled or uncertain, he loses access to himself, because the self is not standing on its own ground. He is standing on the relationship's ground. And ground that belongs to a relationship rather than to you is by definition not stable, because relationships have weather, all of them.
The question is not whether a relationship will have difficult periods. It will. The question is whether the man in it has a foundation that remains his, regardless of what the weather is doing.
Let me describe the daily texture of low differentiation, because it is important to see it clearly. The morning that starts normally and shifts when she wakes in a difficult mood. The shift is not dramatic, just a quality of distance, of preoccupation, of something less than her usual warmth. And the man notices. Of course he notices. He is highly attuned. And the noticing produces something. A recalibration. A slight internal contraction. A low-grade alert that something is off in the system he depends on for his sense of equilibrium. The conversation that is approached differently because of the mood that was read at the start of the day. The thing he was going to say, or the plan he was going to propose, set aside because the moment doesn't seem right. The self-editing that happens automatically in response to a state that he has read in another person. The evening spent in a kind of suspended uncertainty, not quite present, because part of him is waiting for the weather to change, waiting for the warmth that will tell him he can relax, monitoring underneath the surface of a normal evening for the signal that he is okay, the relief when she smiles at something, the specific quality of relaxation when she reaches for him, or says something warm, or signals that whatever was off has resolved. The return of his own ground.
And the pattern that builds over time? Increasingly, the man does not know what he actually thinks or wants or feels in the relationship, because what he thinks and wants and feels has been consistently calibrated to what she seems to need. He has lost the thread of his own interior. Not because he is weak, because the pattern that produced this, reading the room, adjusting preemptively, managing the emotional weather to maintain safety, was once a perfectly rational strategy, and it has become, over time, the default operating mode of a man who no longer has reliable access to his own center.
Murray Bowen developed his family systems theory over decades of clinical work, and the concept of differentiation sits at the center of everything he found. He observed, consistently, that the degree to which a person could maintain a stable sense of self while in close emotional contact with others predicted almost everything that was predictable about their relational and psychological functioning. High differentiation did not mean emotional distance. The highly differentiated person was not cold or detached or indifferent to others' emotional states. They were, in fact, capable of deeper, genuine connection than the person with low differentiation, because they could be fully present with another person's difficulty without being consumed by it. They could stand beside someone in pain without losing their own footing. Low differentiation did not mean high sensitivity or deep love. The person with low differentiation experienced something that could feel like deep care, the intense investment in another person's emotional state, the powerful anxiety when that state was negative, but which was, at its root, anxiety about loss of self. The tracking of the partner's mood was not primarily about the partner. It was about the man's own sense of stability, which had become dependent on the partner's mood. Bowen was specific. Emotional fusion produces a relationship dynamic in which both people are less free, not more connected. The fused person is not more present. He's more reactive.
He cannot respond to his partner from a stable, considered center, because his stable center is what the relationship state determines. He can only react, adjust, manage. And the partner, the one whose mood is being so closely tracked, tends over time to feel this, not as care, as a subtle pressure, as the low-level sense that her emotional state is carrying weight it wasn't meant to carry, that the man's equilibrium depends on her in a way that makes her less, not more, free to be genuinely herself. The hunger for approval produces, over time, the very distance it fears.
This is the relational dynamic that most men in this pattern have noticed but cannot fully explain. The more intensely a man tracks his partner's approval and adjusts himself to produce it, the less authentic warmth he tends to receive. Not because she is withholding, but because what she is being offered is not him. It is a version of him that has been calibrated to what he believes she needs. And people, even when they cannot articulate it, feel the difference between genuine presence and managed performance. The genuine warmth that the fused man is seeking, the warmth that tells him he is okay, that the relationship is okay, that he can relax, requires something from him that the pattern prevents him from offering. It requires him to actually be there, as himself, not as the adjusted, room-reading, mood-managing version that the anxiety produces. A woman who is with a man who cannot remain himself in the relationship is not, ultimately, with him. She is with whoever she needs him to be on a given day, which means she cannot fully trust him. Not because he is untrustworthy in the ordinary sense, but because there is no stable, genuine person there to trust. The self keeps shifting to match the weather. And the man who keeps shifting to match the weather is not, in the relationship, the person he is capable of being. The specific things about him that are most genuinely his perspectives, his actual preferences, his honest reactions to things, these get suppressed or softened or withheld in the service of the management. The relationship is warmer on the surface and less deep underneath. Less trust, less real intimacy, less of the genuine knowing that makes a long-term relationship worth having. Because the man who cannot hold his own ground cannot be known. You can only know what's genuinely there.
Epictetus spoke about what he called the hegemonikon, the governing faculty of the mind. The part of the self that, properly trained and properly understood, remains one's own, regardless of what happens externally. His student and later interpreter, Marcus Aurelius, developed this into what is now called the Internal Citadel, the inviolable interior space that cannot be breached by external conditions. Not because the external conditions do not matter or produce no effect, they do, but because the center of the self, the governing faculty, the place from which a man's identity actually operates, that is not subject to external determination, unless the man himself allows it to be. Epictetus: no man is free who is not master of himself.
This is not a counsel of emotional coldness. The Stoics valued love, connection, and genuine relationship deeply. Epictetus himself taught with clear affection for his students. Marcus Aurelius was known for his warmth toward those close to him. What the internal citadel describes is not the absence of connection or the withholding of care. It describes the place from which connection is made. The man who has cultivated his internal citadel is present in his relationships from a stable position.
He can be genuinely affected by his partner, moved by her joy, troubled by her pain, changed by their shared experience, without losing access to himself. He can stand beside her difficulty without being determined by it.
He can hear her unhappiness without immediately losing the ground beneath his own feet. This is not detachment. It is the specific kind of presence that genuine intimacy requires. Because genuine intimacy is not two people fused into one emotional system. It is two distinct people, each with their own center, choosing to be genuinely close. The choice is meaningful only if both people are actually there. If one has merged into the other's emotional weather, the intimacy is not between two people. It is between one person and their own anxiety, wearing the relationship's face.
Let me be specific about what this episode is not prescribing. It is not the man who doesn't care when his partner is unhappy, not the emotionally unavailable man who responds to her difficulty with indifference, not the performance of stoic aloofness, the man who manages his anxiety by simply shutting down. All of these are different forms of the same problem. They are attempts to manage the loss of ground by retreating from the relationship, rather than finding the ground within it. What genuine differentiation looks like is something quieter and more difficult than either the fused pattern or the shutdown.
It looks like the man who can notice his partner's unhappiness without immediately making it a problem to solve or a verdict to manage, who can sit with her difficulty without either losing himself in it or pulling away from it, who can be genuinely present, interested, caring, attentive, without his own equilibrium depending on the outcome. It looks like the man who can share his honest perspective in the relationship, even when it differs from hers. Not aggressively, not indifferently, but genuinely. Who can hold his own position with warmth. Who has enough confidence in his own center that a disagreement doesn't feel like a threat to his standing in the relationship. It looks like the man who can let her be unhappy without immediately taking responsibility for fixing it, who can acknowledge her experience without making it mean something catastrophic about who he is or where they stand. And, crucially, it looks like the man who knows what he actually thinks, feels, and wants in the relationship, not what he thinks she needs him to think, feel, and want. His actual, genuine interior. This is what it means to bring a whole self to a relationship. Not a managed one, not an adjusted one, a genuine one. And the paradox, the one Bowen's research documents consistently, is that this is exactly what produces the deeper connection the fused man is trying to produce through management. The man who can stand in himself, who has his own ground, who does not need the relationship to regulate his emotional state. That man is capable of genuine intimacy because he is actually there as himself. And being with someone who is actually there as themselves is what a deep relationship is made of.
The practice the episode is pointing toward is not a technique. It is an orientation, a gradual, ongoing reclamation of the interior territory that has been ceded to the relationship's emotional weather. It begins with a question that is worth asking regularly and honestly. When I am in this relationship, do I know what I actually think, feel, and want, independent of what I believe she needs from me? Not as a test, as an inquiry. In the last week, was there a moment when your honest reaction or your actual preference was different from what you expressed?
Not because you chose generously to defer to her preference, because the honest preference was suppressed before it even reached expression. If the honest answer is regularly yes, if there is a consistent gap between the interior and the expressed, that gap is the territory worth reclaiming. Not through dramatic assertion, not through a sudden declaration of independence that disrupts the relationship. Through the small, regular practice of knowing what you actually think before deciding what to say. Of noticing the self-editing before it becomes automatic. Of occasionally, in low-stakes moments first, saying what you actually think rather than what seems safest.
And through the practice of returning to yourself during difficult relational moments. When she is distant and the monitoring begins, pause. Not to suppress the caring response, but to notice what is happening. The anxiety is there. What is the anxiety actually about? The specific content will vary, but the structure is usually this. The ground I have been standing on is uncertain, and I need to find it again. And the place to look is not in the external, not in her response, not in the resolution of the distance. The place to look is internal. What do I know about who I am, what I value, and what this relationship means to me, independent of what she is feeling right now?
That question has answers, and those answers are the ground. The internal citadel is not built in a single practice. It is built exactly as Epictetus described, through repeated, deliberate return to what is genuinely yours. Your values, your honest perspective, your considered judgments about your own life and relationship. That ground is available to you. It has always been available to you. You have simply, at times, been looking elsewhere for it.
Come back to where we started. The man who walks in and is already reading the air, who finds warmth and relaxes, who finds distance and contracts. That man is not performing love. He is genuinely invested. He genuinely cares. But the specific way his caring is organized, through the monitoring, the adjustment, the relief or anxiety, depending on what is found, is not primarily about her. It is about him, about the specific place where his emotional stability has come to rest. Outside himself. In her mood, in the relationship's temperature, in the external signal that tells him he is okay.
Bowen documented what this costs across thousands of clinical cases and decades of research. Not primarily to the relationship, though it costs the relationship. Primarily to the man. Because the man who has lost his own ground, who cannot access his own center independent of the relationship state, is not fully present in his own life. Part of him is always monitoring. Part of him is always waiting for the signal. And the part that is waiting is not available for anything else. Epictetus's internal citadel is not a philosophical luxury. It is the practical prerequisite for genuine intimacy. The man who can stand in himself, who has a center that remains his regardless of the weather, who can be genuinely affected without being determined, that man can actually be with someone. Not as a dependent, not as a manager, as a person. The ground you are looking for is not in the relationship. It was under your feet the whole time. Find it. Stand on it. Then stand with her. Here's the one thing worth carrying. If your emotional state follows another person's mood, you have handed your freedom to someone who didn't ask for it and cannot carry it. Emotional independence is not the absence of care. It is the foundation that makes genuine care possible. Find your own ground first. Everything you want the relationship to be depends on it. I'll see you in the next one.